Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Benedette and I'm here with another prophetic word. Thank you for tuning in. So before I even get into the word, just want to mention one thing. Once you hear the word, please go deeper with the Lord. And how do you go deeper with the Lord? By eat, live, breathe Jesus. That is the only way you can get to know and understand the word that you've heard so that you can fully implement it in your life. So today is based on a dream. Actually, there are two dreams that I had. One I had on the 9th of June and the other one just yesterday. And they're two dreams because they are connected to each other. So I'll just go straight to sharing the dream. So on the 9th of June, I had a dream that I was with this man, and all of a sudden I just felt unconscious and I fell. So I fell and I could still see myself. So I fell and this man carried me. And this man was carrying me to hide me from some bad guys who are after me. So this guy carried me and took me to a room, and the guy was with his friend, and they hid me in a wardrobe. But finally, the bad guys caught up with us and they took me. And this guy stood helplessly, just looking at me and wondering how else he could be able to assist me, and just feeling sort of like guilty he's not able to protect me the way he could have been, he could have done. And so I was carried by these bad guys into this room, which had so many women. And then they injected my legs, both of my legs, so that actually, after they injected my legs, I felt so numb. And this house was full of women, full of ladies, full of girls. And we were all in that one particular place. That it was a house full of all these women, only women, children, ladies, or rather the females. And once we were there, I realized it was like a sex slave kind of room, a sex slave kind of bondage that we were in. And as I was just sitting there and looking around, because they had injected my legs, I was feeling numb, I was just looking around. I got to understand that there are these managers who are managing us, and then now there's that overall manager, like the general manager who's in charge of now the managers. And every single night he will sleep with one of us. So it's like everyone was scheduled for a night where you'll sleep now with the general manager. And then one thing that I realized with these managers, now this is very interesting because months back, I got friend requests on Facebook, on the social media platform Facebook, and this man who sent me a friend request, and my spirit just did not sit straight with this person, and he looked like a man in his mid 40s, and I was just a bit hesitant until I decided to go and have a look at his profile. And when I looked at his profile and whatever he posts, he just posts scriptures and that's it. But I just didn't understand why my spirit wasn't sitting well with this person. And I thought to myself, maybe I'm just thinking too much. And so I accepted his friend request, and I accepted his friend request with the thinking that if 2 3 days down the line, if he starts his silly things, you know how some other guys will just inbox you silly things, I'll just block him. And so he never did that. He never. And so on my dream, he was among those managers who are managing us. Okay. So I remember we stayed there, and then after a while, we tried to escape. I was with this girl, this lady, who we didn't know each other, but I just felt like we are friends. So we tried to escape, and we managed to escape. We were out of that house and we were walking on the roadside when we bumped into two police officers who asked us where we were going. And we pretended that we were just taking a stroll along the road, and it's like they were connected to that general manager or those guys who normally do those kind of things, and he was able to take us back into that house. So that is how the dream ended on 9th June. And what I remember is that I woke up in the morning and I went to Facebook. You know, in Facebook you can have so many friends, especially if they're random people. They're not people who you know. It's just those kind of random people you just get to meet online through the internet or through now the social media platform that is Facebook. And he was one of those people. There's nothing, we didn't have any mutual friends, we didn't have nothing in common. But just the fact that he was posting scriptures, I thought, okay, let me just assume this feeling, gut feeling that I'm having, and just accept his friend request. The first thing, I woke up in the morning and I could remember his name as clear as day, and he was not even from my country. And I could remember his face and his profile picture, how he looked. That's exactly how he looked like in my dream. The first thing I did, I just went to Facebook and blocked him, because it reminded me on that day when I was just feeling like this person isn't real. This person is, there's something just wrong with this person. And the reason why I blocked him is I want you to understand, sometimes the enemy will be able to send monitoring spirits to monitor your life, to monitor your move, to monitor whatever thing you're doing. And they can be in form of that guy who was on Facebook. They can be in form of your friends. That's why you'll hear most of the time, don't share your testimonies prematurely. Don't share whatever God has put in your heart, whatever God has shown you that is going to do for you prematurely, or don't share it with any other person if they're not your friends. Or sometimes they could be your friends, but they could never be for you, you know. So I went and blocked that person, because I remember that day my spirit just didn't sit well with him, and there's a reason why he was there. So I blocked him, and I just continued to pray over it, because that was a clear indication that that's the kind of bondage that we are in, or rather I was in. And also when I received the dream, I thought it was for me, but clearly God just gave me revelations of how this dream is not just for me, it's for me and all other single ladies out there who are looking for their godly spouse. So also another thing that I want to mention, the sex slave kind of house is also something that is happening in the spiritual realm. There's something called the spiritual spouse. Just the same way when you get born again and you're baptized and you give yourself to Christ, you accept Christ as your Savior, you are committing yourself, or you're getting into this relationship with God. The same thing happens with the enemy. Every single person who's born, they have that spiritual spouse, someone who claims they are their husband or their wives. And that is something that you should also get deeper with the Lord to pray against it, to break it off, because those kind of spirits are very stubborn. They will ensure that you never get married. That's why you'll find instances of people who've reached 40, 50, or even elderly ages without getting married, because these spiritual spouses are responsible for that, you know. And you also need to get deeper with the Lord to be able to break those kind of marriages that happened in the spiritual realm, when your child, knowingly or unknowingly, by your parents or your forefathers, or just something that happened in your life, and you need to get deeper with the Lord to be able to break it off. This spiritual spouses also will ensure either you don't get married, or even if you get married, you will just experience hell on earth in your marriage, and you'll be just having trouble in your marriage from all kind of troubles that you'll be in. And that's also something that I just wanted to share. God is freeing us from the spiritual bondages, and not just in terms of singles, because the word mainly is for singles, yes, but it also cuts across other kind of bondages that I'll explain later. So on 7th of August, that is yesterday, yeah, on 7th of August, I had a dream again that I am with this man, and I'd taken this man to this house specifically to show him. This house pretends, it's a house that pretends to host teenage girls, women from vulnerable situations or vulnerable backgrounds, and just trying to build them and upbring them. That's what the house, or rather the organization, shows that it does. But in real sense, it's a sex slave center. Women and girls and ladies are just taken into this house where they are used as sex slave. So I am with this man, and I'm going to that house for that purpose of showing him what exactly goes on in those places. And it was a very huge house, and it was very guarded, and it had sponsors and donors from all over the world. People will be dishing so much money into maintenance of that place because they're thinking it's for a good cause. And they'd have days where they let the donors and the sponsors just to come and have a look at the place, pretty much to see where the money was, how their money is being used. So I remember that day, it was that day where the donors and the sponsors were going to see the place. So I was with this man who I went with, and we went there for the purpose of recording the place, taking pictures, and just getting, it's like an investigation which we were doing. So we went, and when we wanted to leave, one of the bouncers or the guys at the gate stood at the gate and blocked our way. So it was clear that they had shut us in and there's no way we were going out. And we pretended not to have seen that. And we still continued with touring the house, just looking at the place, looking at the women, looking at the ladies, looking at the children who are there. And as we are still touring the place, we are touring the place with the intention of looking for another exit, because clearly these guys have shut us in and there is no way we were going out. So we continued walking, and we went downstairs into the basement, and into the basement we saw an exit door. And when we went through the exit door, we were actually outside the house but still within its compound. And we started running. We just started running, and when we ran, we bumped into this lady who had also run away, but she didn't know her way out, so she was hiding among some of the trees because she didn't want to go back, and she was still looking also for a way out. So she saw us and she joined us, and we continued running. So we ran until we reached this place. It's like a cave, and on the cave it had this river. It's like a stream of water which was flowing with very clear water, very serene environment, and there were three guys standing there. So for a moment we were hesitant because we didn't want to ask them or talk to them, ask them about the directions, because we feared they might take us back. But we just gathered courage, and I asked one of the guys whether there's any exit or any way to the main road, and he pointed into the left hand side and said, yeah, just follow this direction and you'll be into the main road. And he pointed into that direction, we could clearly see there was a main road, and we ran very fast until we were out of that cave, still water flowing through, the river or the stream of water still flowing through, and that water was very clear, very clean, and that place was so serene, even though it was a cave. But now we were out of the cave into the main road. It felt so good, it felt so peaceful, it felt so fresh. It's like you're in this room which is so stuffy, and then all of a sudden you're out into some fresh air. It felt like you're breathing fresh air again, and it felt so good. And clearly, one thing that God was trying to show me is that you are free. You are free. The spiritual spouse is not going to bother you anymore. And also, from the two dreams, I realized there were three common things. There was this man who tried to rescue me in my first dream, and this man again shows up again when we went now into that house again. So there was this man, that is one. There was this lady who we tried to escape the first instance, and we bumped into when we were escaping on the second instance. And there's also the house which hosts these women as sex slaves. There's also another thing, I think I wrote it in my notes. Yes, those were the three things which were common. And then still on the second dream, there was the stream of water, and there was the three men. So as I was just praying, asking the Lord what this dream meant, because I knew it was for me. I've been battling spiritual spouses day in, day out, year in, year out. And God was just trying to let me know it's not only you, there are also other people, there are also other girls, there are also other ladies who've been fighting the same journey with you. So the other lady represents other women who've been fighting, spiritual spouses who've been waiting for their godly marriages, godly husband, godly spouses for ages, for years, with no meeting or no with or rather they've been waiting for long, but they haven't yet met with their godly spouses. This word is also for them. God is saying that He's already released your godly spouse, and the beauty of it all is the man who I was with was my husband. Yes, he's my husband. He was the one who's been trying to rescue me. So don't sit there thinking you've been praying and this man hasn't showed up. That man is also somewhere praying for you. That man is also somewhere wishing that such a day will come that you guys will meet, and God is going to make it possible. God is going to make it happen in this season, in this time. Just trust His process. So that the man represents our husbands, the women represent the other lady who I didn't know him, but I just felt like we were friends. Represents also other single ladies out there. And also the house. The house also, God was telling me, represented the bondage that we are in. The bondage that you got yourself knowingly or unknowingly. And you got yourself in a situation whereby either the men were either rejecting you, or no one wanted to marry you, or you're in this place whereby nothing is happening as far as your marriage or meeting your godly spouse is concerned. That's the kind of bondage that we are in. And also, as I continue to pray, God showed me this is not just bondage in terms of spiritual spouses, this is also bondage in terms of people who've been struggling with drug addiction, people who've been struggling with addiction for pornography, people who've been struggling with stagnation or backward progress, people who've been struggling with lust, people who've been struggling with gossip, lying, all kind of bondages people are in. You are being freed today. God is freeing you today. And also, as I continue to pray, God showed me the river will rain until we reach this river which was flowing so peacefully with very clear water. And God was trying to tell me that He's renewing you. You've gone through stuff, you've gone through pain, you've gone through hurt. You reached a point whereby you just felt like you're tired, you can't go on. God is renewing you, God is refreshing you by that stream of river, by that stream of water, the river that was flowing. That is a place for renewal, that is a place for refreshment. And also the three guys who are standing by the river, the three guys standing by the river who ended up helping us by showing us direction. Those are divine helpers God is sending. God is sending help to you. God is sending help to you. If you're looking for a godly spouse, God is sending help to you that will show you who your godly spouse is. Help that will be able to make your paths cross with your godly spouse. God is showing help, is sending help, and this help is in terms of angels who's been assigned that work specifically to do that. And they could be angels, real angels, and others could be just God using other people to be able to connect you to things that you need. So He's just telling you to get yourself up, help. You have help already, you are freed, and you just need to go all out there and grab a hold of what God is saying to you today. So I'm going to finish off with a word from John 8:36. John 8:36 says, "Therefore, if the Son makes you free, you shall be free indeed." Therefore, if the Son makes you free, you shall be free indeed. You are free, my dear brothers and sisters. You are free in the Lord. Go out and claim whatever God had promised. Go out into your promised land. Some people have already reached their promised land. Others are still on their way. Pick yourself up. Pick yourself up. Help is on the way. You're not doing this alone. God has assigned people. God has assigned angels who are going to assist you in this journey, who are going to assist you reach your destination. And for those people who are already in your destination, continue praising the Lord. Continue lifting the name of the Lord higher in praise, because He's already been able to make everything possible and made everything right for you. So thank you guys for your time. Thank you for listening to me. Until we meet again, be blessed, stay blessed. Bye bye.